Welcome to the Elite Growth Podcast, where we explore the stories and systems behind technology leaders driving innovation and transformation. I'm your host, Kiran Prakash. Today, I'm joined by John DeBono, CTO of Elantel, a technology leader with more than 15 years of experience in software engineering, data architecture, and entrepreneur platforms. From heading the development and cyberpass to architecting platforms at GIG, and now defining the tech vision at Elantel. John has led teams that turn complex systems into scalable solutions. This episode is brought to you by Neuroagentic AI Labs, helping B2B SaaS companies integrate tailored AI solutions to automate key workflows, boost efficiency, and unlock growth. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show, John.
Hi, thanks for having me. Very glad to be here.
Thank you. John, you had a long journey from developer to CTO. What were the key turning points that shaped your engineering philosophy?
Well, I think the key turning point was around my second job, where we designed a platform which used to keep track of company assets like vehicles, cold stores, etc., etc. And most of our operators used to put this system into a big screen, usually in their offices or in a warehouse, and they used to run their business based on this software. So from then on, I realized that clever code kind of just can't cut it, right? It needs to be a system which is scalable. There needs to be resilience because businesses out there are basing their operations on our software, right? On the software that we've built. So it would be it would be a very important part of their operation, and that's what shaped it all.
Okay. And I see you were a teacher at Middlesex University. And how did teaching at Middlesex University and STC training influence the way you build and mentor teams today?
I think teaching makes you break down complex problems into smaller chunks to deliver a module or a subject, right, at university. So students perceive you as their leader, that you guide them through an assignment or a module and take them towards an exam. I think the dynamic of a workplace is very similar. I think one of the key factors would be empowerment, and it creates thinkers and not just executors, and that's the philosophy around it.
I think that is very well put. Like it's a lot of us working in the technology, we don't think about the empowerment, and that's very key. And also, like what I have seen is like if you are learning something, if you are able to teach someone, then that's the best way of learning. And you made a very right point. Empowerment. That's very key for the current industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And across the roles at CyberPass and GIG, what pattern of success or failure have you noticed when scaling technology?
Processes that guide people should be at the center when scaling technology. I think processes are very important in a company's evolvement, and without solid processes and buy-in from stakeholders, you can't really scale a business.
Okay. And let's talk about Elantel. So I've looked into your website and it looks quite exciting. And yeah, for people who don't know, what is Elantel's core mission and how does your technology strategy support it?
Okay, so basically at Elantel, we offer an iGaming platform that includes player account management, data reporting. We also have a front-end product that allows you to create a casino website or a sportsbook website. And we also have a marketplace where operators using our platform can choose content from. Elantel is all about removing friction from operators and allowing them to have their own identity and not have one imposed by us, right? Most of the software out there would set certain ways of doing things, right? inbuilt and embedded into the software. So what we took is a different approach where most of this can be configured by the operators themselves rather than us having we set it for them from our side. Now the technology is a modular one. It's API first. We use messaging technology, so it's message based, and it allows the operator the freedom to move at their own pace without us as a platform becoming a bottleneck for them.
Okay, and that's rightfully mentioned. Like focusing on API first is so key, especially in this age of AI when we are talking about MCP servers and connecting
Right.
with the external system. Like what I usually find is a lot of legacy platforms. It is so hard to get the insights from that to really empower, like make the AI more powerful. And
That's very true.
your vision of going API first, that's really futuristic, I think. Okay. And how are you aligning Elantil's technical roadmap with the business objectives?
So for us, it's imperative, right, that we align both technical roadmap and business objectives. Usually, in our business, new markets dictate that, and also a better experience for our operators helps us keep us in check.
Okay. And I think as a CTO, it's a huge responsibility. And how do you balance innovation, reliability, and time to market?
Well, so to achieve balance, we need to focus primarily on the foundations first, right, in any software product, because that makes it scalable then at the end of the day. So that innovation doesn't come at the cost of stability. What we also do is we deliberately decide what moves fast and where we need to take our time to move a little bit more carefully, right? It depends on which features we're implementing and which sides of the platform we're going to evolve then in terms of features.
Okay. And yeah, you must have faced huge challenges. So, what major technical or operational challenges are you currently solving?
So right now, I think the biggest challenge that we're facing is scaling the company. So going from a startup to a more established company, and growing basically the software and the processes around it to make it scale. What we are trying to do, we're trying to anticipate where complexity or friction may appear before it comes an issue. Usually, since we're giving software to our operators, we try to envisage what makes their life easier to do their daily task, right? Their daily job, because usually they spend a lot of time working on our software, right? It's their 8 hour a day kind of working on our software. So we need to make sure that it is designed and executed in a way that it makes their job and their life easier, doing their operations.
Right. And how do you foresee Elantil's architecture evolving by 2026 to meet the projected demand?
I think the architecture will evolve in a lot of ways to support the business and the scaling. We need to lay the groundwork needed for AI agents, for example, to be able to assist us both internally. So we would like to use those kind of tools internally for development, analysis, anything that we need to do as a company, and also to our operators then. So we can extend that functionality for people and using our software.
Yeah. And looking ahead to 2026, what are Elantil's biggest growth milestones, revenue or user base and platform scale? Uh, what is it?
I think the biggest milestone for 2026 is the growth without the feeling the pain, right? So growing moderately or responsibly, I would
Mhm.
say. This means that our technical and product teams would have handed over all the tools to our operational teams to support the business growth. And then you can scale accordingly.
Excellent. And how is it going? Like you're on target or like, and do you see bigger gaps?
We're definitely on target. We're trying to shape what the next 6 months would look like in terms of both feature development and operational growth that we need to take as a company. And I think 2026 will be a very good one for us. Fingers
Excellent.
crossed.
Wish you all the best. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. And what internal or market challenges could slow down the progress?
I think I can mention one of each, right? So I think as an internal challenge, the scaling, right? Scaling efficiently might pose a challenge if not done cautiously. We need to find a balance, as doing it quickly without solid foundations usually is a recipe for disaster, right? So while doing it slowly puts you always, but however, if you do it slowly, it puts you always one step behind your competition. So basically, you need to find a balance around that. In terms of market challenge, yes. So most of the platforms out there nowadays design software for regulated markets in the iGaming business, right? And we're, more and more markets are being regulated, and they're introducing new rules, right, in order for you to be able to operate in a certain market. So basically, designing for this kind of landscape can be quite challenging. So when we are designing, we need to support features that support these features on the platform. We always need to think 2 steps ahead to make sure that everything is thought of in terms of configurations, and we don't end up in a situation where our software can't be used in a specific market, for example, because of certain decisions that we took to make it less dynamic.
Okay. I think you have answered my next question. I was about to ask, like, what's you personally plan to mitigate these risks. So if you have anything else to add, please feel free. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe to mitigate the internal one, I think automation might help us,
Mhm.
to ramp up, right? So certain tasks that usually are performed, for example, repetitively can be fed to an automation or some automated software that can take care of that part. For instance, testing, right? So we can script certain tests to make sure that we have peace of mind when we're developing faster, right, at a faster pace, and the quality is not compromised. I would say so. To mitigate the internal one, automation would definitely help. To mitigate the market challenge, I believe stakeholder involvement is key. So worked very hard to build a platform that is unopinionated. That means that it is there to take configurations and can be configured in a way to work in different environments and different aspects. But it is very important that feedback is collected from our operators as well. They are using the software between 8 to 10 hours a day. So who better than them can give you insight, right?
Yeah. And what are the metrics or signals can tell you that Elantil is in the right trajectory?
Usually I split these into two kind of metrics, right? There are the tech metrics. So for us, techies, basically uptime, stability, deployment frequency, and test coverage usually give you a good indication whether you're on the right trajectory or not, right? If you're developing features, for instance, and you release a feature or two features every year, there isn't quite the development progress that you would like to have in your software, right? So doing that more frequently usually shows that you are in the right trajectory. Then also there is business metrics that show that. So for example, what is the speed for onboarding new operators? How much clients can you take, right, every year? And does that increase from one year to another? Time to market for features. So if we're going to operate or there's operators needing to operate in a particular market, how long does it take for them to get the features that they require to do so? Supplier engagement, wanting to become part of our ecosystem, for instance, right? So we have a marketplace. Do companies reach out to be part of that ecosystem? So that is also a metric that we look at. And also operators requesting demos, wanting to onboard or make use of our software. So usually these are all numbers that we look at to see whether we're in the right direction or not.
Excellent. And yeah, more you were talking about the challenges and automation. I was thinking of AI, and so where do you see the biggest opportunities for AI-driven efficiency gains within your operations?
I think if we had to look at the development side, especially, I think automated QA would be one of them. I think
Mhm.
we will and we are benefiting a lot with automation around QA. Anomaly detection is another one. So when something goes wrong, right, or the prevention of something going wrong, in terms of using agents or AI around that, monitoring the system, and also eventually the development of it.
Yeah,
So all those are areas where AI can definitely help.
perfect. And you have led multiple engineering teams. What's your approach to building high trust and high output teams?
I think my approach is always to make my teams feel empowered and to show them how their output is contributing to the overall product. I think that is one of the most important things when you have teams and when you're managing teams. A sense of ownership and accountability can take you a very long way.
Yeah. No, actually, that's a very good thing you mentioned. Like, if they, if everybody in the team knows what exact impact they are creating, like, it reminds me of a three bricklayers story, where one bricklayer is just laying brick, and the other one is building a wall, and the other one is building a cathedral. And your approach of empowering is like everybody needs to be clear about the vision and
Yes.
then how it is impacting, and that's a great thing. And how do you foresee a culture of learning and accountability within fast-moving environments?
Okay, so at Elantil, we try to create an environment where learning is not seen as a weakness, right?
Mhm.
We treat mistakes as lessons. However, on the other hand, accountability is not non-negotiable, I would say. So freedom only works when people take responsibility of their outcomes. So for this to work, there needs to be balance. The environment should be safe enough for people working at Elantil to experiment, but
Mhm.
you need to be mature enough then to own it.
Okay, yeah. And to find the quality engineers, what are the hiring challenges you face in 2025, and what skills do you value most in the new
Okay.
engineers?
Yeah. So right now in Malta, hiring is quite a challenge because there is more demand than supply, and there is not enough, for example, students graduating in IT, right, in
Yeah.
order to meet that demand. So usually what happens is that we need to outsource. So that's the general landscape, right, in Malta. Um, Now, when we're recruiting, I believe there are a couple of skills that I value in engineers, mainly problem solving, right? I would say that's the normal one in terms of what you would find in technology, right? Ownership mentality. So when you give something to someone, a task, right, that he owns it from start to finish rather than just do the part maybe that you have described, but go a little bit the extra mile to see the big picture around that task. A certain element of curiosity, I would say. So I think it's very healthy for someone to be curious and ask why certain things were done in a particular way, and perhaps also challenge in some situations why they were done in that way. And culture, I would say. He or she would need to fit in with like-minded individuals, right? At the end of the day, there should be synergy between team members.
Right. And which emerging technology or AI trends are you most excited about integrating with at Elantil?
Um, I would say that AI has been helping engineers to evolve from just being builders into a role that is a little bit more strategic.
Hmm.
So now engineers need to understand a little bit better the business context and the user impact rather than just build. So these tools are assisting them in evolving, right? In evolving their role. I would say that you hear all these stories about AI replacing engineers, right? And all of that. I would say that AI is not replacing, but it's raising their bar, right? In order for them to be better and using AI as a tool, they need to understand better the business, for example, right? And in order for them to be more effective as developers.
And yeah, you mentioned about like using AI for testing and DevOps and other parts of it. Um, have you explored any AI agents specifically, like would help you do that?
Yeah, Copilot is one of the things that we use.
Mhm.
A lot of software nowadays comes with some version of a Copilot, right?
Yeah,
GitHub does it, for example. Microsoft do it as well. So I think it's very good for engineers as they use it to get advice and feedback, but it also sometimes inspire ideas, right? Gives you comments around why uh, would would you tackle this way when you can look at another way of tackling this problem. So I think it's quite healthy to have something like this on the side as an engineer, in order to be able to do your daily work.
yeah. And I think GitHub Copilot is amazing. Like I was in the recent Ignite Microsoft Ignite conference, and
It is,
so
it is,
many advanced features, and even the Copilot as such is evolved, so become so powerful now. Yeah,
it is, it is.
yeah, yeah. And how do you usually evaluate the tools before adopting across the company?
Usually we'll run POCs in a controlled environment. So usually someone from our team will take that POC, will run it in a controlled environment. Usually we time box it as well. So we would be able to measure the results, and then we would decide whether to roll them out broadly around the company. So but it's always as a POC. We start always with a POC, and then we move to adopting it throughout the company.
Okay. And in your view, how can AI transform software delivery velocity or customer experience in next 2 years? What do you envision?
Okay, so with software deliver velocity, I think AI will cut down drastically on feedback loops. As developers, for example, will have real-time insights on code quality. So, the traditional pull request thing where you open a pull request and maybe wait for your peer developers, right, putting in comments and so on, might be done more in a faster way, I would say, which will help code quality, performance, and also potential regressions, right? So that will definitely improve the software delivery part. In terms of customer experience, I think operators and end users will get more intelligent and adaptive experiences. So, for example, smarter content recommendations, you can get faster onboarding, right? If you're going to be onboarded on a new platform or a new piece of software, and perhaps even predictive problem solving, right? So you would
Yeah,
be able to bounce these things off with some agents.
yeah, and it's making a huge impact even in my company. Like it's we almost like for bug fixing, we just within GitHub we have an agent which will we just assign the task and then it fixes the bug better better than humans do. Uh,
Even vulnerability scans, right? And
yeah,
looking at certain code that might pose vulnerability, so
yeah,
these kind of agents of Copilot will instruct you or will be able to assist that. It's a good tool even for junior developers, right? So when
yeah,
the mentorship part can be a mixture between sitting down with the more experienced engineers in the company and letting them a little bit roam on their own, because you have a safety net where Copilot, for example, can even step in to a
yeah,
certain extent, right? Suggesting certain modifications that these developers will need to do, for example,
yeah.
in their code base or in the latest changes that they were working on.
Yeah, and also it has improved the morale of the team because right now they all they need to focus on implementing new features, and any bugs come directly when it is reported, it directly gets assigned to the agent, bug fix agent, and it fixes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's amazing, like to see how how things are evolving. Yeah. And regarding your leadership, what leadership lesson took you the longest to learn?
I think, well, one of the longest lesson that I've learned in my job was that I maybe shouldn't be the smartest person in the room, but to make everyone else better, right? Because ultimately, um, uh, it's it's a team's game at the end of the day, right? You can't do it all on your own, and the fact that you empower people around you to step up, and also be able to have um, teams around you and people around you to rely on, I think it's quite powerful, and you can do much more with that kind of approach.
No, that is it's a good learning for me as well in future, like to make that like the people around you feel more empowered. Like it's not about the ego clash or anything. It's about
Yeah, I think
building it.
empowerment gives them motivation to take ownership. That's
Yeah,
it. So I think it's ideal that you have people around you that can take something end to end, right, and do it fully rather than just focus on the little part that maybe was explained as a task or was given to them as a task, right? As in
yeah,
that kind of mentality is key in order for you to be able to trust them, right, doing their job, and
yeah,
they can then grow into other roles, and they'll get more experience out of the lessons that they learn doing that.
yeah. And I think lot of people right now managing the teams and higher up, they all face the problems with like having a daily routine, like to keep like keep the track of the tasks and make sure prioritize and work. I get really overwhelmed with many things. And what habits or daily routines keep you grounded as a CEO, CTO?
The thing that I really try hard to keep daily is a check-in with the teams, basically. So we follow Scrum processes. We have daily stand-ups, for example, and for those 30 minutes in the morning, I try to be available for my teams, because that is where you literally go on the ground and see what is really going on with them, right? So you hear them talking about what their challenges are, what their blockers are, and ultimately I should be there for them to step in and eliminate any blockers they face so that they can carry on their work efficiently at the end of the day. So I try really hard to keep that daily check-in with my teams.
Okay. And if you could mentor yourself, younger yourself, starting out in tech, what one principle would you pass on?
I would say focus on building system and habits, and not just solving problems, because it's it's all of that makes it work then.
Okay. And so, how is Elantel doing right now? Do you have good customers and like growing faster than you expected, or how is it performing right now?
Right now, it was quite a surprise, because when we started Elantil, we thought that we had some more time in order to finish off and polish the product, but we had a couple of customers who were very keen on starting to use the platform, and we had to compromise a little bit, kind of. Went live earlier, into production earlier, in order for us to start working with these clients, basically. It was a great thing because we started learning fast, right? So as soon as you're into production, then you start learning what the real problems are, how the software is performing, what tweaks need to be done, right, in order to make the software more efficient, more usable, etc., etc. In terms of customers, I think it's we did pretty well for the first. So this is our first year of operation, 2025. So we have 4 clients which are live on the platform, with another 2 upcoming. So I believe that's quite good for the first year of Elantil. Then I would say key is next year, where we'll start scaling out the business then and start seeing how much more we can take on, and what are the processes around onboarding new customers in a rapid pace, rather
Yeah.
than taking our time perhaps to take some clients out live.
And the iGaming platform, like were you always in that platform before, like are in the same domain, or how did that evolve, like as a product, like because it's something new for me. I haven't encountered
So yeah, iGaming has been evolving, I believe, for the past decade now, because it's a piece of software that at the end of the day needs to conform with certain legislations of different countries, right? Because
Mhm.
iGaming has certain rules in different countries, and the platform of choice will need to adhere to those regulations, basically, um, depending on where the customer wants to operate in. So it's quite fast paced, right, as an
Mhm.
industry. So usually there are some countries which pass laws, for example, and to need to take effect right away or a month after, right? So the software really needs to be modeled in a particular way, where it allows you to do these changes on the fly and right away, rather than wait for a year. So it could be that you'll need to go out of a certain market, for example, if you can't adhere to certain regulations, right, and change the software in order to achieve that. Yeah, so I believe we work, or our system works in quite a fast-paced environment compared, to other industries. We try to be cutting edge as much as possible. So on our side, um, I've previously worked on platforms and other systems which were more legacy and monolithic, for example, right? So a very big it's a very big pain point in order for you to change these kind of system, right, and make them adhere to the latest standards. We use a lot of cutting edge technologies. We use, for example, Kafka as a message broker. So we use eventual consistency in certain parts of the system. We use, for example, gRPC as a method of communication between microservices, because we host a microservice architecture on the platform, and basically we use gRPC for our service to communicate with each other. Public facing APIs, so well documented and whatnot, in order for our customers to be able to build their systems around them. So yeah, it's quite, and also a real-time data platform. So we have a data platform which acts in real time. So as soon as the player um, places a bet, for example, on a casino site, you can
Mhm.
see all his metrics and KPIs being updated in real time. So you would know exactly how much money did you make out of that player, or how much money did that player lose, right? What is the total of a particular region or country, right, in the world, when you sum and aggregate all the players playing under that country, for example, So yeah, these are all things that you need to take into consideration when designing this kind of software.
Yeah. And also on your website, I saw a mention of blockchain as well. And how does blockchain work in these scenarios?
Right now, as a platform provider, we're very appealing to crypto casinos, which is
Mhm.
something that has been growing right now, right? And what a crypto casino is basically allowing your players a similar experience to stake.com, for example, which is one of the most sought after websites, right? Which gives you the possibility to deposit the money that you're going to play in Bitcoin, Ethereum, in cryptocurrencies. Now we are capable of doing that, and we are appealing to these kind of customers because our platform supports a concept of multi-wallets. So that means that very similar to a financial or a banking application, we store money um, related to a particular player, and we allow that player also to have different kinds of wallets on the platform. So a wallet to play in Ethereum, a wallet to play in Bitcoin, for example, and then it is up to them which one they use, right, in order to play on the site, right, on our operators.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much. I think we are coming close to the end of the show. And John, it has been really amazing speaking to you, and it's been a huge
Thanks,
learning,
likewise.
especially like around your morals and empowering the team and your deep knowledge on technology and I wish all the best for Elantel, like you're looking to scale and you're in the right direction. I wish you all the
Thanks.
best for your future.
Appreciate it. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this episode, don't forget to follow Elite Growth Podcast and on YouTube and LinkedIn for more conversation with leaders shaping the digital future. Once again, this episode is sponsored by NeuroAgentic AI Labs, your growth partner for building AI-powered systems that automate, optimize, and scale your business. I'm Kiran Prakash. See you in the next episode of Elite Growth. Thank you, John.
Thank you.